Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I have got a slightly overdue video regarding spring fragrances. So I've got a selection here of some gorgeous spring perfumes. I just think they are perfect to wear in spring and they conjure up that feeling of spring as well. So you don't have to only wear them in spring, you can wear them in winter just to bring that springy feeling back to you if you want. So I've got some light ones and some heavier ones because here in the UK, spring is such a mixed bag. It can be really cold, it can be wet, it can be windy, and then another day it could be sunny, and quite often we almost get 4 seasons in one day. Lately, the last few days we've been getting sunshine and then showers and it turning really cold at night. It's really a complete mixed bag, and so you want fragrances that are quite versatile so that you've got everything covered. So I'm going to start with the lighter ones and then I'll talk about the stronger ones that are more suitable for the colder weather and maybe the evenings. We're going to start with this one that is brand new to my collection. I've bought this tester bottle. I got a really good deal on eBay, and it is Chanel Cristalle Eau de Parfum. This is the 2023 version that is in this square bottle. The previous version, I've got some information here. The previous one was from 1993. And prior to that, it was an eau de toilette, and that was created in 1970 by Henri Robert. But this version is by Olivier Pauge, and this is supposed to be the exact same version or the exact same formulation as the 93 perfume. However, there are reviewers out there that are saying that there are differences between what they're smelling, but of course that could be the age of their older bottle compared to the fresher batch. Who knows? I don't know this fragrance well enough to talk about anything else except how this particular perfume smells to me. And I've actually got it on my wrist here, and now we're sort of a few hours in and it's this lovely powdery irisy green sort of slightly sweet thing. But I'm going to read you the notes and I'm going to talk about how it starts as well. So we've got galbanum. That's a note I'm adding myself. There's definitely galbanum in here, but it's not a listed note, but I smell it straight away in the opening, along with lemon, bergamot, fruity notes, hyacinth, honeysuckle, jasmine, iris. That's it, they're the listed notes. I'm going to spray it now. Ooh. And the opening, you definitely smell the galbanum mixing in with those bright, zesty citruses. It's really fresh. It makes me think of rain when it's been hot for a while. It's just this sort of really fresh, refreshing feeling. The kind of thing I want to spray first thing in the morning to liven me up, to make me feel awake, to make me feel fresh and clean. So, but it's not a cologne. It doesn't smell like a cologne. I don't really get anything like neroli or petitgrain or anything like that. It's just a bit of a fresh thing going on from that bergamot and lemon and that greenness from the galbanum, potentially some other green notes. In fact, I think Fragrantica lists a generic green notes thing, and I can see that there's this like sort of dewy greenness about it. And then as it dries down, I start to get the jasmine. And I'd say jasmine is the most dominant note for me. Probably the hyacinth and honeysuckle are in there as well. They're not notes in perfume that I'm that familiar with, but I definitely can tell that there's jasmine in there. But it stays sort of like watery fresh. It's not the kind of jasmine like alien jasmine or an indolic jasmine or anything crazy. It's quite a clean, watery, fresh, floral note, with jasmine to me being the one I recognise the most anyway. And then, as I say, the dry down is just this light, powdery, slightly green floral thing, but it's really powdery. I'd say that perfume doesn't seem to be a mega strong. So once you've had your first couple of hours where it's more fresh, it then sits a bit closer to the skin and it's just this lovely, elegant, powdery thing, which is just really nice. And what I like about this kind of fragrance is the fact that it isn't that strong. So after 3 or 4 hours, I can always spray something else on top. And I like those fragrances because I don't always want to commit to one perfume for the whole day. Sometimes it's just nice to know that come, you know, lunchtime, mid-afternoon, if I want to wear something else, I can easily pop something on top. It's probably going to blend with a lot of my perfumes quite well anyway, because it is a floral powdery thing. And I just really like that option of not being stuck with the same thing all day long. And yeah, just it feels very, very springy. Spring rain probably is what it brings to my mind. So that one is Cristalle from Chanel, and this bottle is a tester bottle, by the way. So another, I'd say this is not exactly light, not as light as Cristalle, but it's also not really heavy. This is very much a very versatile fragrance, but it's really speaks spring to me, and this is called Joyeuse Tuberose, and it's from Guerlain. This is the older style bottle. I like these bottles better than I do the current bottles. Myself, I got this as a bargain on TK Maxx website, so I got this an absolute bargain. But you don't need to know that. Let me give you some details. The perfumers are Delphine Jelk and Thierry Wasser. It came out in 2017 with notes of green notes. Tuberose, lily, jasmine, vanilla, sandalwood and vetiver. What do I get though? I definitely get that mixture of white florals, and they are on the greener side. So if I was blind sniffing this, I might guess the lily and the tuberose being in here, because they are those kind of greener, fresher white florals. It's not a really exotic and heady, like full-on fat and sweet sort of fracas type fragrance or carnal flower. It's not, it doesn't really go in that direction. That's all a bit too much for me. I think this is really a tuberose for someone who doesn't love tuberose. I definitely get the Guerlain sweet powderiness coming through, but it's tamed. So if you imagine the vanilla note in Angelique Noir or Bois d'Harmonie, or most of the L'Art et la Matière line, the vanilla feels like it fills up maybe almost half of the fragrance, especially once you get to the dry down. They're all quite vanillic. I would say the vanilla in here is way down, so it is not a big deal in here. This is not a vanilla fragrance, whereas I would describe those other perfumes as vanilla perfumes. The vanilla in here is maybe only a quarter or even less than it is in those other L'Art et la Matière lines. For me, this is, it does feel like the flowers are out in, you know, the white and yellow flowers out in spring in the air. It's kind of breezy, but then there is a little bit of heft and depth from the sweet, powdery, vanillic side of it. I don't really pick out a specific sandalwood or vetiver in here. No doubt they add to that overall powdery, sweet, slightly amberish tone, but it always keeps the florals, it always keeps a slight green tone, and really good performance, at least an 8-hour day out of it. A perfect scent for a really special dressed up daytime occasion, definitely perfect for an evening event, and even summertime as well. I can imagine wearing it to a summer wedding. Very pretty scent, clean, something slightly bridal about it, I suppose. Maybe that's the lily, I don't know, lily, and then it's softened and sort of innocented up with this powdery, sweet vanillic base. But yeah, really beautiful, definitely feels very spring-like to me, and that's Joyeuse Tuberose from Guerlain. Next one, We're going to go for another Chanel, but this is a Les exclusive Chanel and it's called a Beige. This is brand new into my collection. I only received this one about 3 days ago. I got it on eBay, managed to get it for a decent price. I paid £110 for this 75ml bottle that is slightly used. I've been drowning in it for the last 3 days. So obsessed with it. And it really does smell springy as well. So the reason I got Beige is because my friend Valentina sent me, she actually sent me a sample ages ago, and I must have sent her a message saying, oh, this is really nice. And then I forgot about the sample, and then she ended up sending me another sample, probably because she knew I liked it, because I said it was nice. Anyway, long story short, I wore it, had to tackle my garden, and the samples arrived the day I was sort of, you know, about to pop out into the garden and have a bit of a tidy up. I sprayed Beige on from the sample, went about, you know, pulling up weeds and whatnot, and I kept getting these wafts of this beautiful, natural, sweet sort of floral smell, and I was like, is that what I'm wearing? And I just loved it. And yeah, then I just became obsessed, and I've used up both samples and had to get a bottle pretty much straight away. So this is an obsession of mine. The details are, where are you, Beige? Here we are. So it came out in 2016. Jacques Polge. I thought it was Olivier. No, hang on. Do you know what? I mix up father and son. But this is Jacques Polge. Jacques Polge. Notes are hawthorn, freesia, frangipani and honey. Now, I don't think the notes really describe this perfume that well, so I've written my own notes, okay? So these aren't official, this is what I get from it. I've written notes of mandarin, because when you smell it, it's a really orangey. It smells very mandarin-like to me. So mandarin and bergamot to me is the opening. With a slightly peppered touch. I think there could be a touch of sandalwood in here. Not really distinctive, but I just feel like there's like a woodsy touch. It's got a little bit of a twist on it. You know how sandalwood's a bit more interesting of a woody note than most. Musk, totally get musk from this. Iris, definitely get that powdery, musky thing, like an iris and musk mixing together. Sweetened powder and mimosa. So mimosa and hawthorn, I think they can be quite similar anyway. So that's what I actually get from it note-wise, but how does it break down? So when you first spray it, I don't 100% love it right from the first spray. As I say, I think we can do a fresh spray here. When you first spray it, I definitely get an orangey smell that I would say really does make me think of mandarin. And yeah, a little brightness and freshness, which makes me think there might be bergamot in there. And then you can smell that it's a floral fragrance. And the honey note, I don't think it smells like a honey, like a jar of honey. It smells more like those florals that give off a honey sweetness. So it smells like honeyed florals rather than a separate honey. Definitely get a light greenness from this as well, almost like the greenness from Angelique Noir. Really, honestly, this fragrance is a lot more than it looks and that you first think. And what I love is because it's quite bright when you first spray it. It's not a zesty, cologne-like, super fresh citrus fragrance, but it just has this orangey tone to it. Think of like orange amber, or my cat's eyes, my last cat Sweetie's eyes. She had these big amber eyes. Think of shiny orange amber. That is the glow that I get from this fragrance when I first spray it. And then as it dries down, it eventually starts to get a little powdery and musky, which is what makes me feel like there's iris and musk in here. And the florals are always there as well. They're frangipani, and I think it's freesia, isn't it? Did we say freesia? Yeah, and I don't really know what freesia smells like, so I can't comment on that, but it's a really nice sweet, pretty, approachable floral. There's a classiness to it. It's refined. It's not really overly sweet. It's not gourmand. It has got that Chanel restraint. It's not this big, you know, big loud, look at me, you know, I'm you know, head turning kind of thing. It's very much understated but pretty. And I get a cleanliness from it, so slightly soapy as well, but it's not a soapy perfume. I just feel that it's very clean. It's very much a well-groomed, beautiful lady who's just taken care of everything top to toe, and you know, she looks amazing, she smells amazing, and people probably do turn their heads, but not because she's wearing an obnoxious perfume, just because she's just so perfectly put together and classy at the same time. Yeah, I really am loving this one. So that one is Beige from Chanel, the Les Exclusifs line. Okay, the next one, and that is, let's put the label at the front. This is YSL Paris. This is the Eau de Toilette. This is another eBay bargain. My bottle was born in 1996. It's quite a old formulation. Paris came out in 1983. It was Sophia Grossman who perfumed it. There's a ton of notes. I've not written them all down. I've written down the ones that I feel are most relevant. Rose, violet, mimosa, hawthorn, bergamot, lily, ylang ylang, jasmine, orange blossom, orris, musk, sandalwood, cedar, oak moss and amber. So to me, I definitely don't pick up on all the notes. Mostly I get the rose, I've got some in my eye, the rose, the violet, the iris, a slightly green tone as well. It's a little bit lipsticky, it's definitely quite powdery, soft, slightly woody undertone. I definitely don't find it ambery despite the amber note. It's probably just adding a little bit of sweetness and depth underneath it all. But it is just this really pretty kind of makeup bag kind of scent really, but quite vibrant, quite lively, quite fresh. We do have some fresh notes like the bergamot. Bergamot I think is the only citrus I can see listed, but it definitely has a freshness to it, but it is not citrusy in the least. It's just fresh, vibrant. I guess the green notes as well add that sort of freshness to it. Keep it grounded, I suppose, so it's not too just floral and sweet. It's lightened up with the green, with that little bit of bergamot, keeping it kind of fresh. Really good performance on this for an eau de toilette. That is my cat snoring, by the way, if you can hear it. I probably should show it to you. So that's Paris from Yves Saint Laurent. A really beautiful spring, a very pretty fragrance. Now we're going to move on to a few of my heftier choices. These ones are really suitable for evenings, colder days, and you know, maybe more seasons than just spring, but they still bring a spring to mind. There's actually just two left. So we'll go for this one, and I've got the perfume and the matching body oil because I love these oils. So we have Francesca Bianchi Sex and the Sea Neroli. This is an extract and it really is a very concentrated fragrance, very strong. You honestly don't need much at all. And that's why I've had this bottle for a few years, and I do use it, I do wear it, and I still have enough left to probably last me a couple more years. And this one has so much depth, it's so interesting, but it also is so perfect for spring. So this came out in 2019. Notes of neroli, coconut, ambergris, civet, honey, mimosa, petitgrain, vanilla, immortelle, iris, benzoin, labdanum, sandalwood, rose, bergamot and vetiver. Now I will tell you that I don't get all of these notes. I don't think I've ever picked up on the rose, and I don't really feel like I get the coconut in here, or the immortelle for that matter. They're not obvious to me. Maybe not really the mimosa. So there's a few notes in here I don't really pick up on. I think they just blend in with everything. What I do get, when you first spray this, it's quite bitter. If you don't like bitter, like neroli and petitgrain, if you don't like sort of green aspects of those two notes, then you're not really going to enjoy this, because it's a fresh, it smells citrusy, and this petitgrain is the leaves and twigs of the orange tree, and I definitely get an orangey nuance to the fragrance in general, to the citrusy element, but it's balanced with this sweetness underneath, which I suppose is a vanilla. So the vanilla in here is not overplayed. It's not as much as the vanilla in even the Joyeuse Tubereuse, where the vanilla's not that strong in there either, but it's noticeable. In here, I think in the beginning, the vanilla adds a sweetness without smelling specifically like vanilla. And it's only in the dry down, quite a few hours in, that I realise I can smell a little bit of vanilla. So this is not a vanilla fragrance, but it definitely adds sweetness to it, which I really enjoy. And yeah, for me, this is all about that sort of bitter orangey opening, really fresh, but with this richness underneath, this real strong, sticky, like richness. And then honestly, it just goes on and on and on, and it just develops on your skin. It keeps on changing. It smells a little bit like sunscreen. It smells a little floral, and it just really lasts. And I've had lots of comments on this over the years. I think because it is so strong, and I don't wear much, you know, one or two, well, never one spray for me, couple of sprays, and that is all you need. It's so highly concentrated, and it lasts in the heat, and it blooms even in the cold weather. This one really can be worn all year round and will give excellent performance all year round. But to me, spring is the season for it, because it's so great on those colder days to, you know, have something that smells like spring, because we know spring's here, or it's coming, or it's pretending to come. But even on those cold days, you just smell like so fresh and lovely. And yeah, I'm a big fan of this one, Sex and the Sea Neroli. And as I say, I love the oils. And the great thing about the oils is, I mean, obviously you can use them all over your body, but you can also put them in your hair, which I like to do, just to waft around a little bit of that smell. And the oils on your skin, it depends on the flavour. I've got Unspoken Musk and this one, Sex and the Sea Neroli. This one is really strong, and I can get 3+ hours out of it on my skin. So if I'm just wobbling around at home and not doing much, I might just wear the oil. Maybe if I haven't had my shower yet, I'll just throw moisturise my arms and here, just to enjoy the scent of it before my shower. Or if I'm maybe after my shower and I'm not going anywhere in particular, so I'm not necessarily going to spray a perfume. I mean, often I do, but if I'm not going to, then I can just wear the body oil and enjoy that aroma around me. And then if I'm going out later, I can spray either the matching perfume or something completely different on, because after a few hours, of course, it's died down. But yeah, I absolutely love these oils. They really are so nice. And just that tiny little bit I've put in my hair now, I can smell it wafting around me. So nice. And what's great about these as well is if you find Francesca's perfumes too strong, and I can imagine a lot of people probably do, because they're very strong, but if you like the scent profile, The oil will do you. You can just wear the perfumed oil and experience a fragrance without it being so intense. One more, the last one then, and that is this one here. It's Ikerio Swan Maiden, another floral. These are all florals, of course they are. I think everything I own is florals. This one has notes of ambergris, castoreum, cocoa, forget-me-not, honey, lotus, moss, stephanotis, vetiver, white rose, ambroxan and ozonic notes. Okay, I honestly don't know what most of those notes should even smell like. What I can tell you is that this is one sexy MF of a floral fragrance, and I think that's because of those animalic notes, probably the castoreum and ambergris. I don't find any obvious ambroxan because I'm not a big fan of ambroxan. I don't mind it in tiny doses, but I don't specifically notice it in here, so that's good for me. This is, let's spray it. It's definitely, I can probably pick up a little bit on the lily, the greenness of the lily, but it's got this sweeter florals. I think stephanotis is a version of jasmine. So there's this mixture of florals. They do feel kind of white. The florals themselves feel clean. And then you have this slightly dirty smell, which is difficult to explain. I wouldn't call it pissy, but it's more pissy than it is anything else I can think of. Somewhere between piss and someone's pillow. So scalp. Piss and scalp. So if I write my own notes, I'm going to put piss, scalp, pretty flowers. No, the animalic notes, not everyone picks up on them. I've watched reviews, I've read reviews. Some people find it quite dirty, some people don't find anything animalic in it whatsoever, so it's very subjective. But to me, there is a really beautiful blend of clean, pretty, slightly sweet florals and this slightly dirty note that's not really that dirty, but it's a bit dirty. So just a hint of filth mixing in with this beautiful white floral sweet thing, and it is lovely, and it has movement, it changes, it's lively, it's really long lasting. Yeah, it is. I mean, it was designed with a sort of a bridal vision in mind, but it's almost not innocent enough to be the perfect bridal scent. Maybe it's not chaste. It's definitely, maybe it's the second time around the block for this bride. We'll say that. Probably she shouldn't be wearing white. But it's unusual. I don't know anything like it, and I really enjoy it. I do find it very sexy, and yeah, but because it's so floral and vibrant and lively, it feels perfect for spring. So that is Swan Maiden from Dreamhouse Ikerio, and that is my spring perfumes. These are the spring fragrances I'm going to be loving wearing this spring, and also further into summer, I'm sure. Let me know what fragrances you are rocking or will be rocking this spring, and have you tried any of these? What are your thoughts? And I'll see you in another video. Bye!